A little over a year ago, I participated in a game jam where the only rule was you had to use a certain art kit. Using that art kit, I created a zombie survival game called You Probably Won't Survive. The game was pretty simple. You're stuck on a deserted island and need to survive waves of zombies and other monsters that try to attack you. You can chop down trees, build bases to protect yourself, and take out these monsters with your gun. Now, even though the game was really simple and was only made in 48 hours, a lot of you guys really enjoyed the game and wanted me to update it. So I decided that I would turn You Probably Won't Survive into a full game. To get started, I opened GameMaker Studio 2 and created a new project. Now, I know what you might be wondering, why would I create a new project? I already had a working game with the original, shouldn't I just add more features to it and call it a day? Well, here's the thing, when I originally created You Probably Won't Survive, I wasn't a very good game developer. I'm still not a very good game developer, but I feel like I could make something better than this. So I just decided to recreate the entire original project. This way, I would be able to make the fundamentals of the game more solid, creating an overall better gameplay experience. I started by importing some assets, programming a movement system for the player, adding a gun, and already things were feeling a lot better than the original. I added zombies, which was our first enemy. I added some trees, and I also created an axe that the player could use to chop down those trees. One of the biggest features of the original game was that you could chop down trees to get wood and use that wood to build a base, which would help you survive. I created a new building system, which was a lot more effective than the original. The next thing we needed to add were some new enemies. In the original game, we had zombies, skeletons, mini zombies, and giant zombies. Zombies were pretty much your standard enemy. Skeletons were pretty much the same as zombies, just a little faster, had a little more health, and dealt a little more damage. Mini zombies were a lot faster than normal zombies, but had less health and dealt less damage. Giant zombies were a lot slower than normal zombies, but had a lot more health and dealt a lot more damage. All of these enemies could break wood that the player builds, but the giant zombies could also now break trees and stone that the player builds. In the original game, you could just surround yourself with either trees or stone, survive the whole game, and win. Now that the giant zombies could break both trees and stone, you couldn't do that. Also, I've made it so the game was now endless, which means there's really no point to just camp and survive anymore. You should be taking advantage of the building mechanics to build different structures that allow you to take out as many enemies as possible. I also added improvements to the enemy AI. In the original game, the enemies would simply move towards the player, avoiding solid objects like wood and trees. However, if an enemy collides with wood, it would automatically attack the wood until it's broken. In the new game, the enemies will still move towards the player, avoiding solid objects like wood and trees, but will only attack wood if the player is in a certain range. This means that an enemy will only try to break through your base if you're actually close to the enemy. If you're not close enough, they'll try to find another way to get to you. Now, time to add some new enemies. The first enemy we added was a ghost. The ghost had two states. In the first state, they're like your regular enemy. They'll simply move towards the player. However, in the second state, they can move through walls and can't take any damage. The second enemy we added was a lava monster. The lava monster would move towards the player, but once it was in a set range of the player, it would stop and start shooting lava blasts at the player. These lava blasts could break through wood and trees and dealt a lot of damage to the player. The next thing I needed to create was a spawning system. In the original game, the spawning system was pretty simple. Essentially, there were 4 different enemy spawners across the map. Whenever a wave was active, they would spawn enemies, and the spawn rate and what enemies would spawn would depend on the wave. For example, if it was only the first wave, only zombies would spawn at a normal rate. However, if it was the 4th wave, both zombies and skeletons would spawn, with both spawning at a higher rate. So I just copied the system from the original, but made it endless. In the original, once a wave was over, all enemies would despawn and you would get a point for each enemy. However, in the new version of the game, you only get points for the enemies you take out. So if I manage to take out 4 zombies, I only get 4 points, not 100 points once the wave ends. I added a hotbar to the game, added a pickaxe, added stone that you could mine and build with, added chickens that you could use for food, and overall, the original game was recreated. Before I show you you how the game turned out. This is just the first demo of the full game. There's still obviously a lot to add to the game, and that's where you guys come in. Back when I released the original game, you guys had heaps of ideas of things to add. So if you have any ideas or features you would like to see in the game, leave a comment down below and it might get added to the game. Also, if you'd like to play the first demo of the game, it's available over at my Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/badgamedev or with my link in the description. All future demos of this game will be available on my Patreon, so if you'd like to test out the game while also supporting the channel, you can do so through my Patreon. Also, if you do decide to support my Patreon and play the game, I would appreciate any feedback over there, as that would help a lot with the game. Anyway, here's the first demo of the game. And here we are with the remake of You Probably Won't Survive, and the wave's already starting, so let's get into it. Let's get our axe, chop down a tree, and start making a base. So as you can see, the game already feels a lot nicer. I can hold down shift, I can run, everything's just better. Zombies should start arriving soon, so I'm gonna try to get some type of base built up. Let's place some wood with our new and improved building system. Wave complete. Okay, that worked. We didn't really have to fight any zombies, but that's the way this game works. You know, it starts off pretty easy, but as the waves go on, the harder the game gets. All right, let's fight this zombie. So we can obviously shoot the zombies. Boom, there we go. Wave complete. So let's get some stone, already up to wave 6. Okay, the monsters are really starting to roll in now, so we should be able to build up our score. All right, we also need to sort of make our base a little bigger, because once the ghosts start arriving, they'll be able to just fly through our base, and we need a bit of room to be able to run away from those guys. So let's just keep expanding here, and the ghosts are starting to arrive. This is awesome. All right, we're gonna try to take out as many enemies as we can this round, just so we can build up that score. Oh, okay, and now the lava monsters have arrived. Oh no, oh no. So yeah, if you want to know how that little gameplay of the demo went, I ended up getting taken out by a lava monster. Overall, the game just had a much better feel about it. The player controls are a lot smoother, and the overall mechanics just felt better. I think the game being endless now just made the game even more fun, as you didn't really have to focus on just camping and winning, you had to focus on getting as high of a score as possible. The new enemies were also a challenge and added a lot more to the game. Once again, if you'd like to play the demo for yourself, you can check it out on my Patreon over at patreon.com/badgamedev or with my link in the description. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like. Don't forget to leave a comment on any features you would like to see in the game, and you can also subscribe if you're new to the channel. Peace.